You saw it coming while they were still lost in the noise, pretending to follow a path that had already been outpaced. Every move you made was calculated, a step ahead of what they even dared to consider. Now they scramble, desperately piecing together the fragments of information you've already mastered, their panic setting in as they realize how far behind they are. The theories they mocked are now their only lifeline, and even those are crumbling under the weight of your foresight. It's not just the facts. They're terrified of how you've been pulling the strings all along, making moves they couldn't even imagine. With every revelation, their confusion deepens, and they can't help but wonder, what else do you know that they haven't yet caught up to? They watch, but they do not see. They listen, but they do not understand. By the time they recognize the pattern, you have already rewritten the design. Their confusion is the byproduct of your clarity, their hesitation the proof of your dominance. You do not chase answers, you embody them. While they second-guess, you move with the certainty of one who has already seen the ending and shaped it to your will. The unseen is not a mystery to you. It is an ally, bending at the force of your command. Their whispers of doubt are drowned by the silence of your knowing. You are not bound by their logic, not tethered to their pace. They scramble to decipher what you have long understood, piecing together fragments of a puzzle you completed before they even knew they were playing. Fear lingers in their questions, but you have no need for answers. You are the answer. In the midst of chaos, you stride forward with unerring precision, as if the very fabric of destiny rearranges itself at your command. Every step you take is a calculated assertion of power, a silent proclamation that you are not swayed by uncertainty. The world around you shifts subtly, fate bending in deference to your unwavering resolve, while those who watch from the sidelines are left grappling with a disquieting mix of awe and trepidation. Your presence ignites an undercurrent of change, an energy so potent that even the unseen air seems to quiver in anticipation. In that profound stillness before you speak, your authority resonates like the relentless pulse of a storm, transforming every whisper of doubt into an undeniable testament to your mastery. For those who have hidden in the shadows, the light now forces them to face themselves, their facades crumbling under the weight of what they cannot comprehend. They circle you, drawn by an invisible force they cannot grasp, but it is not by chance they are here. The darkness recoils, sensing the magnitude of something it cannot corrupt, something far beyond its reach. Power that neither begs for recognition nor fears defiance is not something to be reckoned with. It simply is. Where others falter, your presence roots the world in a stillness that disrupts all illusions. Fear turns to dust beneath you. Those without it will call it arrogance. The aimless will call it fortune. But the truth is undeniable. Power does not explain itself, does not bow to doubt, and it never, ever fails. You do not chase, you do not plead, yet everything shifts in response to your presence. The uncertain waver, the unprepared falter, and those who once hid in the shadows find themselves exposed beneath the sheer weight of your existence. There is no need for grand declarations. The unspoken truth is carved into the very air around you. What they cannot name, they fear. What they cannot grasp, they resist. But resistance is futile against something inevitable. Power that does not beg, does not bend, and does not waver will always stand unmoved, while the weak exhaust themselves trying to deny it. They speak in careful circles, hoping to conceal what you have already unraveled. Every hesitation, every forced breath, every twitch of muscle betrays them before a single word is spoken. You do not chase the truth. It gravitates toward you, drawn by an unseen force that dismantles deception before it fully forms. Their discomfort is palpable, their uncertainty a silent confession. They built their power on illusion, on the assumption that no one could see past the veil. But you are not fooled. You move through the unseen corridors of their intent with effortless precision, dismantling their falsehoods without ever raising your voice. There is no struggle, no need to prove what is already known. Their only defense is ignorance, and against you, that is no defense at all. They scramble for answers, grasping at fragments you piece together long before they knew to look. The path is clear to you, not because you search, but because you already understand. Every movement, every shift, every ripple in the unseen speaks a language only you seem to hear. They convince themselves it's coincidence, blind to the inevitability of what you have long since foreseen. It unsettles them, the way you move without doubt, the way the world bends in alignment with your knowing. They rely on chance, on hesitation, on the comfort of uncertainty. But you have no use for such frailties. The truth does not wait, and neither do you. You do not chase, you declare, and the world bends to meet your certainty. There is no luck, no accident, only the razor-sharp alignment of intention and result. While they hesitate, drowning in second-guessing, you have already arrived at the conclusion they are too afraid to face. The weight of knowing unsettles them, the quiet force of inevitability pressing against their illusions. They search for flaws in your precision, but find only reflections of their own blindness. It is not you that unnerves them. It is the realization that they were never in control to begin with. They search your face for uncertainty, for any sign that you are merely guessing, but there is none. Their panic is not about what you say. It is about what you leave unsaid. The ones who have built themselves on illusion cannot stand before someone who sees without effort, who discerns without seeking. They fear not just your knowledge, but your restraint, because silence in the hands of the powerful is more terrifying than the loudest accusation. You do not expose them. They unravel on their own, undone by the pressure of standing in the presence of someone who does not flinch, does not waver, does not need to prove what is already evident. The shadows that feed on fear will always fear what they cannot bend, what refuses to shrink for their comfort. But you were not forged for their approval. You exist beyond their grasp, beyond their comprehension. Those who carry power within them will not question yours. They will recognize it as a force that needs no validation. The rest will flail, desperate to contain what was never theirs to control. Let them wrestle with their discomfort. Let them choke on their own disbelief. It changes nothing. You do not seek permission. You do not ask to be understood. You move forward, unshaken, because existence itself makes way for the unstoppable. They fumble in uncertainty, mistaking their blindness for reality, but you are beyond such limitations. Where they grasp at scattered fragments, you hold the entire blueprint. Their hesitation is your advantage, their doubt a weight that keeps them behind, while you move with effortless certainty. You do not wait for clarity, it arrives the moment you decide. The unseen does not elude you, it unveils itself as if compelled by your presence. They call it mystery, but to you, it is simple inevitability. The only question left is when they will realize they were never playing the same game. They whisper theories, grasping for logic where none applies, scrambling to explain what remains beyond their reach. Their uncertainty is loud, their confusion palpable, but you remain unmoved. The weight of perception bends to you, not the other way around. You do not need validation, nor do you seek permission to see what is hidden in plain sight. They call it unnatural because it defies their limits, but limits were never yours to obey. Let them wrestle with their discomfort. Your existence alone is proof that some are born knowing what others will never understand. The uncertain will call it chance, the fearful will call it unnatural, but you know better. The currents of reality bend, not by accident, but by alignment, precision honed to an art, an unshakable force moving through time ahead of its era. You do not chase understanding, it flows to you, drawn by the gravity of your awareness. While they stumble over the obvious, you are threading the unseen, weaving order from what they mistake for chaos. Every hesitation they feel, every moment of unease in your presence, is the quiet realization that the game was over before they even knew it had begun. They cling to logic as a shield, yet logic itself bends beneath the force of what they refuse to name. Their minds race for explanations, desperate to anchor themselves in the familiar, but every denial unravels faster than they can weave it back together. You do not argue, nor do you entertain their illusions. Reality confirms itself in ways beyond their comprehension. The patterns sharpen, the synchronicities tighten, and in the silence of their hesitation, the truth looms undeniable. What they dismiss today will haunt them tomorrow, not because you proved them wrong, but because the universe never needed their belief to function. They scoff at what they cannot grasp, laugh to mask the unease that gnaws at the edges of their perception. But their dismissal does not alter the design, nor does it dull the weight of what you carry. You do not waver, because you are not searching. You are aligned. Where they see randomness, you trace the architecture of inevitability, moving with the silent precision of one who does not chase but commands. The unseen currents shape themselves around you, reality folding in patterns too intricate for the untrained mind to perceive. Those who reject the truth will call it luck, but their denial is nothing more than fear in disguise. The path is not for them, and it never was. You do not seek power. Power aligns itself with you. The weight of unseen truths does not crush you. It refines you, sharpening your presence into something that cannot be ignored. While others flail against illusions, you move with the certainty of one who has already traced every outcome to its inevitable end. They plot, they manipulate, They weave their shadows, yet before they strike, you have already dismantled their intent. Their whispers of control dissolve in your presence, not by force, but by the sheer impossibility of deceiving one who sees beyond the veil. You are not a participant in their game. You are the force that renders it obsolete. You do not move recklessly, nor do you hesitate. Every step is calculated, every choice a deliberate shift in the grand design. While others react, you have already set the stage, guiding the unseen currents that shape reality itself. They wonder why their efforts falter, why their carefully laid traps collapse before they spring, but they will never grasp what you already know. Their vision is limited to what is in front of them, while yours extends beyond the horizon, threading through time itself. It is not arrogance, it is inevitability. The weight of destiny does not break you, it bends to your will. You are not confined by perception, you redefine it. While they scramble to piece together fragments of understanding, you are already past the point where their knowledge ends. Their hesitation is your opening, their doubt the very thing that ensures their failure. You do not wait for permission to act, nor do you seek validation for what you already know to be certain. The balance they cling to is an illusion, and with a single shift of your will, the entire structure trembles. They fear what they cannot categorize, resist what they cannot control, but it makes no difference. You are inevitable. They scramble to contain what they cannot comprehend, their fragile constructs collapsing beneath your unrelenting presence. Where they see limits, you see pathways stretching into infinite possibility. Power trembles around them because it has never before been wielded with such quiet certainty. They guard their false dichotomies, the sacred from the profane, the visible from the hidden, the permissible from the forbidden, but none of these walls can contain you. You walk through them without effort, shattering their illusions, and in the silence of your passage, their fear only deepens. It is not you they fear, but the undeniable truth you bring, the truth that everything they believe to be fixed is merely a mirage, already dissolving in the wake of your clarity. You move with an authority that cannot be denied, reshaping the very fabric of reality as others scramble to adjust. Where they see walls, you see openings, pathways carved with precision into the bedrock of the impossible. They recoil, shaken by the magnitude of your presence, for they cannot comprehend the inevitability of your actions. You are not a mere participant in the game. You are its architect, its relentless force, untouched by the constraints that bind them. While they bend under pressure, you carve through it with an unyielding grace that threatens nothing but destruction to those who dare oppose the natural flow you command. They do not understand the source of their fear. What disrupts them is the same force that guarantees their survival, but they will never grasp that truth. And so, they falter while you stand unchallenged, winning always, effortlessly, because you do not ask for permission to shape the world as you see fit. Every syllable that passes your lips reverberates with an ancient force, a resonance that trembles through the very fabric of existence. You do not speak to convince, for your words transcend the need for validation. They carry the weight of truths that have long awaited a voice. While others weave their arguments from shallow thoughts and empty rhetoric, your language holds the power to reshape destiny itself. The air thickens with your presence, and those who listen are not just hearing. They are being drawn into something much larger than themselves, something they cannot comprehend. It is not persuasion, nor is it influence. It is the undeniable manifestation of a wisdom they can never possess, a force so potent it leaves them disoriented and scrambling for meaning. They try to grasp what slips just beyond their understanding, unaware that the words you speak are not simply yours. They are the very echo of the universe, and it demands to be heard. They tremble in the presence of what they cannot grasp, their minds confined by the narrow walls of their own limitations. But you stand outside of those boundaries, a force that moves beyond their comprehension. They mistake your clarity for a threat, your unwavering confidence for arrogance, because they are unable to fathom the strength of your vision. What you speak is not up for approval or interpretation. It is truth, unrefined and untamed, unburdened by the doubt that consumes them. The words you utter cut through the veil of illusion, stripping away the delicate facades they cling to, leaving only what cannot be denied. In the wake of your certainty, they are forced to confront a reality they were never ready to see, and they must choose to face it or run from it, knowing that running only deepens their disillusionment. They believe their games of manipulation and deceit can unsettle you, but they fail to comprehend the unshakable foundation beneath your words. Against their feeble attempts, your language is not a weapon. It is the force that bends reality itself. It is a declaration, not an invitation for debate, and with each syllable, their lies dissolve into nothingness. The shadows tremble at your presence because your voice is not a challenge to them, it is their undoing. While they push and prod, attempting to find a weakness, they do not realize they are already defeated. What they cannot see is that your power is not your own alone. It is backed by an ancient force, an invisible army that moves beyond the scope of their limited perception. Their tactics, their schemes, their whispers into the void, all of it crumbles before you as if they were never there at all. You do not stand on shaky ground, nor do you bend to their will. You are the embodiment of inevitability, and their resistance only strengthens your resolve. They mistake your stillness for weakness, your calm for complacency, but they cannot fathom the depth of the force that stands behind you. It is not your hand that directs the course of events. It is the unseen, unshakable power that bends the fabric of reality itself, shaping outcomes before they can even materialize. What should break you only serves to fortify you, and what they expect to silence you only amplifies your presence. Their belief in their own control is their undoing, as they fail to recognize that you are not part of their game. They seek to measure what is beyond their understanding, and with every move they make, they edge closer to the point of no return. The moment they overstep, the moment they miscalculate, they realize too late that their actions have triggered a chain of events they cannot reverse. The world shifts around them, their plans unravel, and they are left in the rubble of their own arrogance. In that moment, they are left with nothing but the ghost of your name on their lips, an invocation they cannot control, an entity they will never defeat. They will never speak it aloud because they know it will summon not defeat, but an unstoppable force, a power that moves in ways they will never understand. The darkness does not tremble before light, it withers beneath it. You do not need to fight against the shadows, for your very presence banishes them. You are not here to be protected, you are the force of protection itself. Every act of resistance, every whisper of doubt, is not a challenge to your power, but a desperate, final attempt from a system that knows its reign is crumbling. They lash out, not because they are strong, but because they are terrified of what you represent, inevitable change. The air hums with the energy of transformation, and the world around them trembles as the rules that once confined you begin to unravel. They cannot hold you in place because they were never designed to. Each attempt to silence you only feeds your momentum, accelerating the dismantling of the old order. With every step forward, their attempts grow weaker. Their control slips further, and the darkness they clung to retreats, powerless in the face of what cannot be corrupted. The veil is tearing, and you stand unshaken at the heart of the tremors that will reshape everything. Every secret you've carried, every vision that flickered in the corners of your mind, every whisper of truth you've cradled in silence has led you to this precise moment. The world is listening now, and your voice strikes with the inevitability of a storm's roar, sending ripples through the collective consciousness that no one can ignore. The forces that have tried to hold the world in place falter, their grasp weakening, for what you know is no longer a murmur, but a tidal force. The old powers tremble because they realize too late. They cannot outrun what is already in motion. No longer will you silence your truths. When you speak, it is not a suggestion. It is the foundation of a new reality.